Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Wa sadaqallahu al-azim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, another week have come and another opportunity given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that can come in our Zawiyah of Mashaykh of Shaykh Sayyidina Ahmad Dabbagh and able to follow the instruction and to participate in the session which is for spiritual Muraqabah and rectification and seeking guidance to enlighten and benefit ourselves for today and for the rest of the week. As you brothers know and the sisters, those who are online, those who are in the UK, that many of our Tariq brothers and sisters in the company of our teacher Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, they are actually currently in the blessed city of our Ummi Saint, the great Ummi Saint, Shaykh Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh rahimahullah. They're visiting there. Obviously everyone's heart is yearning to be there, but in this Muraqabah as well, that we can also practice whereby you can spiritually transfer and be in the company of the teacher, be in the spiritual presence and seek guidance and so on. And those who are sincere, those who have the yearning but could not go for many reasons, be it financially or other reasons, other commitments, then we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with the fiyuzat of the mashayikh and to be in the company and also benefit whilst we're here trying to follow online or try to follow them spiritually with the amals and muraqabah such as today's session inshallah. So I'll play the normal format, the muraqabah session, and after that there'll be a chance to give feedback, and so you can give feedback. But just for one a reminder which our teacher have mentioned, and maybe they will mention and teach us further, that sometimes difficulties happen in our life, difficulties, financial difficulties, problems come, issues happen, fallout happens, make a loss or make issues with your employee or employers and so on, or illness comes and you become bedridden, or other musibah or the difficulty comes which you cannot understand how it comes, or we do not know, can't see the light and the path how to be free or find a solution or find a way out. All this, like our teacher was saying, is actually giving you a message. So our normal default reaction is that when these things happen, obviously we seek advice, be it an expert in the field, or if not everything fails, then we run to the masjid and ask the imam, the awliya, the shaykh to make dua for us, to find a way out, to change the circumstance we find ourselves in. But yes, we should ask for help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should then seek the means that to alleviate, which is fine. But also the greater lesson we are missing if we do not reflect and ponder upon why these things are happening. So in effect, what we are wanting to do is to change the circumstance we find ourselves in, to change that to become as it was before, if not better. But sometimes these things happen, or majority of the time, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a message. He is giving a message that the situation have come which you don't like. He's telling you that you need to change your ways so that you become more close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and detach from the unnecessary things. So we try to change the circumstance to make it more favorable. But sometimes the hidden message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the lesson here is Allah saying, no, you need to change maybe the direction you're going, or maybe your habits that you have, or the way you're doing things, maybe at a micro level, small scale, or macro level, at a bigger level. You need to change your direction and see why this is happening in your life. And maybe the blessing of that would be that this current situation or current problem, Allah will also resolve. So remember that normally how our default reaction is, and remember what awliya mashaykh, how they draw lesson from even from those states and situation, to see that what is Allah is trying to say through this. Because Allah communicates, obviously the way the revelation is closed, that door, in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Allah does communicate up to 15, 19 ways. Our Shaykh Ahmad gone through in list in detail. But one of them, or some few of them, are through tribulation, difficulties, stress, illnesses, other difficulties, opposition, and so on. It's all also telling us that Allah wants something to happen in us, a change to happen in us, and not necessarily always that I need to change the circumstance, why this is happening. Or else, even if a change does happen and becomes better again, still we will not be taking that message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the lesson from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what they are saying, that maybe the way you're going is not right. And that's why many people, that they're not really practicing, or they're not really interested in Islam or Deen, but only go to the imams and the masjids and turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go to the pious, because they have a certain illness or certain issue, go to him, make dua, because that's the only option left now. But yet, that turning is not really for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just so that that issue or that cure or that musibah or that tribulation gets eased or removed. And after that, majority of them is then go back to their own lives again. So really, they, in an effect, in one sense, they want to use Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get the world. So my world is sorted and I'm okay and happy now. Whereas these things are happening, saying that you should now utilize these things as stepping stone to go Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, change your ways, take the lesson, take the benefit from the circumstance you find yourself in. That's where you really benefit, and then spiritually grow as a result, inshallah. So this they mentioned a few times, maybe they'll mention in the future in detail, we'll learn. But something to ponder upon, that it's not necessarily always, yes, we should seek remedy or solution to the problems, but also what is the message Allah is giving you in this, which is sometimes maybe certain, maybe at like say macro level, where you need a wholesale change. Or for many of us, maybe it's not a macro level wholesale change needed, but it's at a micro level. Maybe everything else doing fine, maybe one aspect or two aspects which are not. You're still following a tradition or a rasam or a waj, and really following what should be the way. Maybe our own habits, maybe how we deal with our families or our colleagues, or whatever small bits. And so those things we should ponder and try to change as well, inshallah. Okay, inshallah, so we'll begin the Muraqabah, inshallah. So like yourselves know, like I said, in this blessed month of nearly finishing end of ShahAlam and coming out of Al-Qadha, and our blessed teacher and the blessed brothers and sisters, very many of them, 150 plus, from all around the world, they're actually converged and in Faith Sharif in Morocco. So inshallah, spiritually, what we can do is, there's no limit, there's no barrier for us, that obviously I'll do the Lataif cleansing and the 3 phases, then take the golden breath, and the spiritual body transfer, find their teacher, continue journey being in the fairs and all the other trips they go, meeting many of the shuyukh, mashayikh, especially Shaykh Sayyidina Dabbagh, maybe someone is here, guidance, advice, admonitions, whatever is given to us, and we follow, inshallah. So I'll briefly recite aloud some of the Arabic and start of askars, and then after that, all of yourselves, inshallah, just 15 minutes or so, spend 15 minutes in total, 10 to 15 minutes to do all the Lataif cleansing. It is a silent one because we all learned how to do so, and then transfer and then continue your spiritual journey with teachers, especially in fairs, focusing on there, and then what they take you, inshallah. So again, clear our mind and our heart and focus that Allah is with me, Allah is seeing me, Allah is hearing me. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أستغفر الله وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه اللهم يا ربي بجاه نور وجهك الكريم وبفضلك العظيم اجمع بيننا وبينك في الدنيا قبل الآخرة اللهم يا ربي بجاه سيدنا محمد ابن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اجمع بيننا وبين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله في الدنيا قبل الآخرة اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم السلام عليك أيها النبي السلام عليك أيها النبي السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله لا إله إلا الله 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 ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Inshallah, the name of Allah being present above, in His presence. Please do begin. Bismillah.
ختم رسول اے شاہ رسول شاہ انبیاء شاہ مدینہ چمکا دے میرا دل چمکا دے میرا دل چمکا دے میرا دل چمکا دے میرا دل یا رسول اللہ چمکا دے میرا دل چمک تجھ سے پاتے ہیں سب پانے والے چمک تجھ سے پاتے ہیں سب پانے والے میرا دل بھی چمکا دے چمکانے والے میرا دل بھی چمکا دے چمکانے والے برستا نہیں دیکھ کر ابر رحمت برستا نہیں دیکھ کر ابر رحمت بدوں پر بھی برسا دے برسانے والے بدوں پر بھی برسا دے برسانے والے تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ جہاں بھی ہو وہیں سے دو صدا سرکار سنتے ہیں سرے آئینہ سنتے ہیں پسے دیوار سنتے ہیں تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ ہے واللہ ہے واللہ تو زندہ 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 ہے واللہ میرے چشم عالم سے چھپ جانے والے میرے چشم عالم سے چھپ جانے والے میرا دل بھی چمکا دے چمکانے والے چمکا دے میرا دل چمکا دے چمکا دے میرا دل چمکا دے میرا دل بھی چمکا دے چمکانے والے میرا دل بھی چمکا دے چمکانے والے میں مجرم ہوں آقا مجھے ساتھ لے لو میں मुजरिम हूँ आका मुझे साथ ले लो के रस्ते में है जा बजा थाने वाले के रस्ते में है जा बजा थाने वाले या हबीब या की ज़मीं और कदम रख के चलना हरम की ज़मीं और कदम रख के चलना हरम की ज़मीं और कदम रख के चलना अरे सर का मौका है ओ जाने वाले अरे सर का मौका है ओ जाने वाले रहेगा यूं ही उनका चर्चा रहेगा रहेगा यूं ही उनका चर्चा रहेगा परे खाक हो जाए जल जाने वाले परे खाक हो जाए जल जाने वाले दिल नूर हो तेरा दिल नूर हो तेरा दिल नूर हो तेरा दिल नूर हो तेरा मदीने के खेते खुदा तुझको रखे मदीने के खेते खुदा तुझको रखे मदीने के खेते खुदा तुझको रखे गरीबों फकीरों के ठहराने वाले गरीबों फकीरों के ठहराने वाले रज़ा नफ्स दुश्मन गदम में ना आना रज़ा नफ्स दुश्मन गदम में ना आना कहाँ तुमने देखे हैं चंद्राने वाले कहाँ तुमने देखे हैं चंद्राने वाले दिल भी चमका दे चमकाने वाले चमका दे मेरा दिल चमका दे चमका दे मेरा दिल चमका दे मेरा दिल भी चमका दे चमकाने वाले मेरा दिल भी चमका दे चमकाने वाले मेरा दिल मौला अल्लाह कौन मुश کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون خالق جہاں کون رازق میرا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا عجمی کہتا ہے معبود ہے یہ صنم رومی کہتا ہے سورج پہ اپنا برم عجمی کہتا ہے معبود ہے یہ صنم رومی کہتا ہے سورج پہ اپنا برم میں نے ان سے کہا سب کا مالک خدا اے مقرر انہیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا ایک دوجے کو دنیا کی بے حد طلب روز محشر کی سختی کو بھولے ہیں سب ایک دوجے کو دنیا کی بے حد طلب روز محشر کی سختی کو بھولے ہیں سب چھوڑ لہو و لعب یہ جہاں ہے فنا اے مقرر انہیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا میرے آقا پہ ختم نبوت ہوئی اب رتبے میں سب انبیاء سے جلی میرے آقا پہ ختم نبوت ہوئی اب رتبے میں سب انبیاء سے جلی ان کو رب نے پکارا ہے شمس و ضحیٰ اے مقرر انہیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا سارے اصحاب ایمان کے مینارے ہیں میرے آقا کے سارے وہ دلدارے ہیں سارے اصحاب ایمان کے مینارے ہیں میرے آقا کے سارے وہ دلدارے ہیں وہ نبی کے سپاہ وہ ہے رب کی رضا اے مقرر انہیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا کون مشکل کوشا کون حاجت روا اے مقرر ہمیں تو حقیقت بتا سنتوں میں یہ سنت بھی زندہ کرو دین حق کے لیے دشمنوں سے لڑو سنتوں میں یہ سنت بھی زندہ کرو دین حق کے لیے دشمنوں سے لڑو راہ میدان میں اے زین سب کو بولا शोरश से भागता हूँ, दिल ढूंढता है मेरा ऐसा सुकूत जिस पर तकदीर भी फिदा हो। क्या लुत्फ अंजुमन का जब दिल ही बुझ गया हो। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। मरता हूँ खामोशी पर, ये आरज़ू है मेरी। मरता हूँ खामोशी पर, ये आरज़ू है मेरी। दामन में कोह के एक छोटा सा झोंपड़ा हो। क्या लुत्फ अंजुमन का जब दिल ही बुझ गया हो। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। आज़ाद फिक्र से हूँ, उज़लत में दिन गुज़ारूं। आज़ाद फिक्र से हूँ, उज़लत में दिन गुज़ारूं। दुनिया के गम का दिल से कांटा निकल गया हो। क्या लुत्फ अंजुमन का जब दिल ही बुझ गया हो। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया हूँ या रब। हो हाथ का सहाना, सब्ज़े का हो बिछोना। हो हाथ का सहाना, सब्ज़े का हो बिछोना। शर्माए जिससे जल्वत हलबत में वो अदा हो। क्या लुत्फ अंजुमन का जब दिल ही बुझ गया हो। दुनिया की महफिलों से उकता गया شاید انہیں جگا دے کیا لطف انجمن کا جب دل ہی بجھ گیا ہو دنیا کی محفلوں سے اگتا گیا ہوں یا رب دنیا کی محفلوں سے اگتا گیا ہوں یا رب جب پر صبح و شام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ نبیوں کا پیغام ہے اللہ اللہ ولیوں کا الہام ہے اللہ اللہ لوگوں اپنے کام سے مطلب رکھو 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 اپنا تو بس کام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ جب پر صبح و شام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ نبیوں کا پیغام ہے اللہ اللہ ولیوں کا الہام ہے اللہ 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 آسانی آسانی اللہ اللہ آسانی آسانی اللہ اللہ آسانی آسانی اللہ اللہ آسانی آسانی راحت وہ آرام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ جب پر صبح و شام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ نبیوں کا پیغام ہے اللہ اللہ ولیوں کا الہام ہے اللہ اللہ میرا جے مومن کا کیا ہے ٹھکانہ 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 آغاز اور انجام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ جب پر صبح و شام ہے اللہ اللہ کتنا پیارا نام ہے سے بڑھ کے فضیلت کیا ہو ساما، اس سے بڑھ کے فضیلت کیا ہو ساما، حامد کا انعام ہے اللہ اللہ، کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ، رب پر صبح و شام ہے اللہ اللہ، کتنا پیارا نام ہے اللہ اللہ، نبیوں کا پیغام ہے اللہ اللہ، ولیوں کا الہام ہے اللہ اللہ، روزہ دکھا دیجئے میرے آقا مدینے میں، مجھے بھی اب بلا لیجئے میرے آقا مدینے میں، مجھے بھی اب بلا لیجئے، مہکتی ہے وہ راہیں جن سے آقا آپ ہیں گزرے، مہکتی ہے وہ راہیں جن سے آقا آپ ہیں گزرے، مجھے بھی ان گلی کوچوں، مجھے بھی ان گلی کوچوں میں رہنے کی جگہ دیجئے میرے آقا مدینے میں، مجھے بھی اب بلا لیجئے میرے آقا مدینے میں، مجھے بھی اب بلا لیجئے، لڑی سانسوں کی یہ آقا نہ جانے کب بکھر جائے، لڑی سانسوں کی یہ آقا نہ جانے کب بکھر جائے، بلا لیجئے مدینے اور بلا لیجئے مدینے اور قدموں میں بسا لیجئے میرے آقا مدینے میں، مجھے بھی اب शुहदा की वो चौखट दिखा दीजिए मेरे आका मदीने में मुझे जी अब बुला लीजिए मेरे आका मदीने में मुझे जी अब बुला लीजिए कभी मैं जालियां थामूं बसा कर पंजतन दिल में कभी मैं जालियां थामूं बसा कर पंजतन दिल में अलियो फातिमा हसनैन अलियो फातिमा हसनैन का सदका अता कीजिए मेरे आका मदीने में मुझे जी अब बुला लीजिए मेरे अलियो फातिमा हसनैन का सदका अता कीजिए सितारों कहकशाओं से मदीने की गुबार अच्छी सितारों कहकशाओं से मदीने की गुबार अच्छी मुयस्सर हो अगर कातिब मुयस्सर हो अगर कातिब तो आँखों से लगा लीजिए मेरे आका मदीने में मुझे जी अब बुला लीजिए मेरे आका मदीने में मुझे जी अब बुला लीजिए मेरे आका मेरे आका मेरे आका मेरे आका मुस्तफा मुस्तफा मेरे दिल में याद उनकी मेरे लब पे नाम उनका मुझे लफ्ज मिल न पाए जो लिखूं मकाम उनका मेरे दिल में याद उनकी मेरे लब पे नाम उनका मुझे लफ्ज मिल न पाए जो लिखूं मकाम उनका ये सितारे चांद सूरज है उन्हीं के दम से रोशन ये सितारे चांद सूरज है उन्हीं के दम से रोशन ये ज़मीन व आसमां में ये ज़मीन व आसमां में जो भी है तमाम उनका मुझे लफ्ज मिल न पाए जो लिखूं मकाम उनका मेरे दिल में याद उनकी بسر یہ زندگی ہو تو انہی کی پیروی ہو، جو بسر یہ زندگی ہو تو انہی کی پیروی ہو، یہی ان سے پیار کرنا، یہی ان سے پیار کرنا، یہی احترام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، کچھ اس لیے بھی میں نے نہ چھوا ہے جام میں کا، کچھ اس لیے بھی میں نے نہ چھوا ہے جام میں کا، ہے یقین مجھے پیوں گا، ہے یقین مجھے پیوں گا، سر حشر جام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، کر ان کا قرب چاہو تو پڑھو درود ان پر، کر ان کا قرب چاہو تو پڑھو درود ان پر، سبھی ذکر محفلوں میں، سبھی ذکر محفلوں میں، کرو صبح و شام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل کی بے قراری کو سکون چاہیے تھا، میرے دل کی بے قراری کو سکون چاہیے تھا، میں الگ ہوا ہوں سب سے، میں الگ ہوا ہوں سب سے، کہ لکھوں کلام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میری کتنی خوش نصیبی ہوں میں ان کے در کا بندہ، میری کتنی خوش نصیبی ہوں میں ان کے در کا بندہ، میری کتنی خوش نصیبی، میری کتنی خوش نصیبی، میں ہوں غلام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا، میرے دل میں یاد ان کی، میرے لب پہ نام ان کا، مجھے لفظ مل نہ پائے جو لکھوں مقام ان کا،
صلی علی سیدنا و مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحابه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. الحمد لله رب العالمين. So inshallah, just the brothers will go around with the mic. If you want to relate, please do relate, inshallah.
Mentioned that it's time to relay our experiences. So now no one should be shy. Alhamdulillah, the different analogies.
Rahim. My name is Abbas. I'm from Nelson. Whilst doing the preparatory amals, I could see the lataifs, and they were in order from red all the way up to the white lataif, and I could see the blessed teacher in front of my lataifs. And at a moment I could see that there was a particular zikrs, different zikrs that were engraved onto each lataif. And at this moment it was as though I could see my a spiritual body in front of me. And at that moment the teacher instructed to transfer. And as I transferred, I was outside the blessed graveyard in Fez, Morocco, and I was waiting for the blessed teacher at the stairs. And as they came, I walked behind them, and as we walked up, we were outside the mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahimullah. And at that moment there were a couple of leaves scattered around, and it was as though I felt that the teacher had indicated that go and pick up the leaves. And I began to pick up each leaf and began to put them in my pocket. And then we began to recite As-Salam. We began to recite As-Salamu alayk ya Sayyidi Abdul Aziz Dabbagh. And the blessed grave began to glow with light. And as Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahimullah appeared, and we presented our salam to them, and they were really happy to see me. And at this moment it was as though they grabbed a stick and they began to walk. As we began to walk, it was just a road. And at this moment the scene had changed, and I had seen that it was the teacher, I and Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh. We were looking at the Kaaba from a bird's eye view. And then we went even up. It was as though it was the Kaaba, but it was inside my chest. And there was the Prophet ﷺ, and there was me next to them. And at first, as we went closer into my chest, it was as though first there were walls, many walls around the Kaaba, and I remember that I was with the Prophet ﷺ, and as they walked, each wall had vanished. And as we made our way to the Kaaba, I could see that above the Kaaba there was the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal, and around it was the blessed attributes and names of Allah Azza wa Jal, and around the blessed names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal were the names of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. the entire vision just stayed like that until Ustad Dr. ShahAlam recited Durood, and I seek permission and returned back.
MashaAllah, very detailed and vivid experience you had, Brother Wais. There's two aspects, just briefly mentioned. One aspect is obviously we go to Tazkiyah, that helps to rid of any negative, any dirt, any impurities. Then we pour the pure light and blessing and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which you mentioned about spiritually being in the lofty stations in the company of the Mashaykh and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam present, and being in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reflecting and pondering upon different sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So really this is an analogy of our life itself, that we should constantly be aware and to rid of any darkness that we have. And formally, when we go to the Tazkiyah course, this helps to bring in line, and then we have to make sure monitor it and maintain. And then we should really engage, which is the food and of the spirit, purpose of our existence, and of our mission and of our objective is to be in the company, friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reflecting the sifat many times in the day and see how it manifests in our daily lives as well. And anytime we fall short, then obviously we should refresh ourselves, seek tawbah, and try to be in those states in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whilst we're living our life. So those are two end goals at the end, that we want to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remember Him, and helps to engage in the different sifat in more deeper level, and then outwardly we follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that manifests the outward remembrance with our body, with our mind, after going through the purification process, inshallah. So one should reflect and think about that more and more. How can I bring that during my day-to-day life as well? And the muraqabahs and the namaz and these things helps to refresh these things, inshallah. MashaAllah, Allah bless you, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Bilal, I'm from Bolton. As I was doing the Latifahs, I spotted something which was slightly different to usual. The orange Latifah was slightly darker in terms of color, and even the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the light as well coming through. As I transferred... Sorry?
The orange Latifah darker or yellow one darker?
The orange one.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was with the name and the light coming through as well.
Mm-hmm.
As I met with the Hazab after transferring, I was, though I was as a child, and embraced them and gave my salam, and then I went on the back as children would play. And after that, as I was on their back, we started traveling towards the blessed city of Fez. And as I saw, behind us was a lot of children, and I realized it was the brothers from this gathering following. As we arrived at the blessed graveyard in Fez, we then gave our salam to Sayyidina Dabbagh, and they emerged from the blessed grave. We then sat down as a triangular shape, Sayyidina Dabbagh on my left and our blessed teacher on my right. I then saw the blessed right hand of Sayyidina Dabbagh, as though it was a slightly darker shade of as my hand, and skinnier, and also saw the blessed left hand of our teacher on my right. I then felt that the blessed body of Sayyidina Dabbagh infused with mine, and then the blessed body of our teacher, Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, infused with me as well. I then felt an intense light and heat in my body for a short while. I then saw the doors of paradise opening after that. And it was as though that it was said to me that now you can enter paradise, as though it's because of their light and that I wouldn't be able to do it myself. We then went to Medina Sharif and we gave our salam, and it was as though my organs were giving salam to the Prophet ﷺ, as though my eyes, my hands were giving salam to the Prophet ﷺ. And then after that, I seeked ijazat and came back. Jazakumullah khair.
MashaAllah, may Allah bless you, Brother Bilal, for the experience. It shows that, for example, when we actually are out there engaged, with the world, doing maybe work and different activities with families, and out there mingling with people and places, sometimes if you're not careful, and it's naturally, blemish could start to come and settle in our body and our mind and our heart. So it's a good thing that when you did the Latifa, for example, yellow one, that was being cleansed, that's why it was slightly darker with the name of Allah and the light coming through. So that refreshes ourselves, motivate ourselves to reconnect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which you have done. And that's why it is said that we should come to the gathering and participate. There's so many blessings happens which we know or we do not know in terms of purification, in terms of refresher, in terms of motivation, in terms of reconnecting back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the pious. And after that, mashallah, so you transferred, in the company of the teacher and the mashayikh, Sayyidina Dabbagh, and especially witnessing or being in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What could more ask for? But it shows that we have to keep it consistent and week to week, day to day to an extent. Like Hazrat said in the end of the Kaf, that one should aim at least once a week as a full following, full sunnah, inwardly, outwardly. Also, what we could do is as a mini run, select once a day, be it in the morning, Fajr time, or in the afternoon, or most likely in the evening when we come home at Maghrib or Isha, that try to reconnect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and things that we know, and slowly filter and defeat some of the worldly activity that we've gone through and engross ourselves. And even be it even before going to sleep, or the Isha prayers we do, for example, Maghrib time or Isha time, try to disconnect from everything and now connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even once a day for a short period. That's why all this Muraqabah, the zikr that are given, and tazkiyah zikr, all the spiritual ruhani training, it's for that very reason, that we refresh, stay connected if you're actually broken. So as well as receiving the blessings to preserve it now, is to make a plan that, okay, for a short period of time, once a day, I'm just going to spend that time, be it at home or in the masjid, or wherever you are, just me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then select once a week where you're going to try and follow from Fajr till Isha and the night before you go to bed again, that I want to follow as much sunnah and amals and everything I meant to. So if it's usually easier if you select it on a day off or something, inshallah, or a Friday or whenever, inshallah. So practice that as well, and Allah will help you more and bless you more, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Afzal from Bolton. After transfer, I saw Sab stood behind Ustad ShahAlam, and they went walking around with their blessed Asa Mubarak, their staff, and they were tapping the shoulders of all the brothers in the Majlis. There was a light appearing on the head of all the brothers, bright white light. And then I approached them, I embraced them, I seek forgiveness. And I asked what was behind this light and the tapping of the stuff on the brothers' shoulders. And they said, this will keep you connected with me whilst I'm away. And after that, we transferred and went to the Blessed Mazar of Sayyidina Dabbagh. We started reciting Durood and Salam in the Mazar. Sayyidina Dabbagh appeared, and they mentioned to the nearest meaning, but I'm so happy that my Ahmad is here and my children have come to visit me. And then they said that my Ahmad loves you all so much and he doesn't want to leave anybody behind. And then all the brothers from the Majlis were presented at the Mazar. And after that the scene changed and we were at Medina Sharif sending Durood and Salam upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And we were near the Jami Mubarak, and then the scene changed again and we were at the Kaaba Sharif doing Tawaf, and I could see a name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, huge name above the Kaaba, and they were like, it looked like birds were flying around, but there were different hundreds and thousands of Ismizat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the light from them names were entering her sab. And then the scene changed again and we were at the Mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, and then we were all doing zikr there. And then that's when the vision ended and Sikh Tijaz and came back. Alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Jazakallah for sharing this. As you can see, that the love and attention of the teacher, whether you are with them physically or apart, in terms of distance or even time for that matter, that doesn't make a difference. As soon as and as often as we attune ourselves and stay connected for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they're always with us and blessing us, and they are actually the one trying to keep us connected with them and receive these continuous fairs and blessings. So it's as though that we have a tap and sometimes we turn the tap off and then go into ghafla or into state of heedlessness and forgetfulness. So the lesson here that we are so blessed, although we might be not in the trip, we're not in any way, shape or form missing out or losing out in that sense. There are obviously always extra blessing when you're physically present with the teacher, especially in the blessed places. But nonetheless, necessary blessings and then benefit is there whilst we are even here, as long as we are connected and come to these gatherings, just to commemorate and remember and to uphold Hazrat Sab's Majlis, be it a Friday or like today, Monday, or any other days. And so this helps us to stay connected as well, overall. And secondly is when we focus on our individual journey, refresh it, and the individual practices that we do morning and night. These are the individual connectors that connects to them. And real benefit lies in those, because there you are training yourself, your spirit, your nafs, to become consistent, to bring a good habit, to keep that flow of fairs, that light of blessings into our life, and so that the onslaught of shayateen, the nafs, are not overwhelming, but there's a redress and balance, and we stay connected, and we actually are blessed and continue to go against any insinuations of the nafs or shaitan, and to stay strong, inshallah. So those are the real pick out points. If you carry on, then inshallah we'll stay blessed, and Allah will keep blessing us and the affairs of the Mashaykh, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Zain, I'm from Bolton. During the initial, towards the beginning of the spiritual experience, the transfer felt very quick. Hazrat Sahab took myself to the Mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz at Dabbagh. There we conveyed our salam, and also Hazrat Sahab showed myself all of the brothers and dear brothers and sisters who are there, who have travelled from here and all over. Hazrat Sahab expressed their happiness, as did Haji Gufam, at the brothers who attended today, for their efforts and for capitalizing on this opportunity to become even closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Sahab, then the scene changed and it was just myself with Hazrat Sahab, and I was sat on a piece of marble which was clear white, and all I could see was the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above. It was very, 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 very huge, shining extremely bright to the point where I could not look directly up at this blessed light. Hazrat Sahab mentioned to me something that really hit me. Today I was, whilst at work, I was pondering upon what our blessed teacher once mentioned. They once mentioned that very few will, every soul shall taste death, whereas very few will taste life. And when I was sat on this marble, I began to ponder upon this thought, but I did not mention this. Hazrat Sahab began to speak about this as if they knew what was in my heart. And they mentioned that for a believer to recognize that everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon them, that they were not worthy of any one of these blessings, yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still blessed them, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most loving and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most kind and most generous. For one to recognize that one is lifeless and one is helpless without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is favoring you massively through the infinite blessings they have bestowed upon you. This mindset is an avenue for one to begin to taste life. Hazrat Sahab also emphasized to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try and maintain the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our daily lives. This also allows a person to begin to taste life. Hazrat Sahab also, to the nearest effect, mentioned that the concept of limits is often an illusion in the believer's mind, and through the total reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this total reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the way to become truly close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beyond any limits you could have ever imagined. So Hazrat Sahab emphasized be in the presence of Allah and to maintain absolute reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every action, no matter how minute. Then Hazrat Sahab advised myself to speak and do munajat and pour my heart out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I then sat on this white marble for the remainder of the spiritual ascension and spoke and poured my heart out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My spiritual experience ended as your blessed self recited the Durood Sharif for us then to return. Jazakallah khair.
MashaAllah, very detailed and vivid experience and guidance and upliftment and change of mindset change and motivation. Really, nothing much to say except that what's been said is more than sufficient. And so one lesson we learn that what is to live mean comes in the hadith to the effect that when a believer remembers Allah, stays in His presence, he is alive, and when he becomes absent from Him, he only does not remember Him or in his mind with these different organs of the body, then it's as though he's actually a dead. He's not alive at that time when he's absent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So really what they're saying is that we should ponder on how to stay alive and stay connected, is that day and night we actually are living physically, we are benefiting, we are absorbing, we are nourishing. So for the food that we eat, or the car that we have, we drive, or the family we have, we talk to, food on the table, good health, secure job to go to, friends the teaching, the mashayikh, all these are blessings of Allah. So one way to stay connected to His sifat and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also think about these blessings in our life and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has facilitated even the food that we eat, that it could have been just one color, bland, one shape, still it would have nourished us. But no, Allah has given different shape, different color, different taste, different smell, just so that we enjoy, we benefit. How we eat and then how the food is digested. Sometimes we're having hot, sometimes we're having cold, sometimes the food is very tangy or very, very hot, but yet it goes to the same stomach and it knows a way of processing it and to remove any harmful substance and nourish the body with all the beneficial nutrients. And we'd have to think for a second, well, this is all happening subconsciously. Or for example, like subconsciously, have you ever wondered that when you suddenly touch a very hot surface or put your hand suddenly in a fire or something pinches you, before you realize you have this reflex reaction, the hand moves away or the feet moves away, and then you realize, oh, it was really hot. So before you even come into physical consciousness, you have a system inbuilt that is able to reflect or deflect so that it doesn't burn or it doesn't cause more harm once you recognize and once you move yourself. Because even that is a point of milliseconds, whereas this reflex reaction is even more instantaneous, faster. But who's given that? So one way to stay alive is to stay connected, like Brother Zain was saying, and be in the presence. But you can engage yourself. How to stay in the presence is one dimension, like in the guidance, that day and night, in front of us, behind us, on the left, right, on the left, on top, below, in all dimensions, we are enveloped, we're completely covered in the blessings and the mercy and the love of Allah. We just have to open our eyes and see and realize, wow, every step is a blessing, because who actually measured that we need exactly so many centimeters or meters of a step so that our walking becomes comfortable. If it was too big, then beyond our stride, then it would cause discomfort on your knees, on your joints. If it's too small, then you're not going to progress as much. So if you ponder like that, automatically you're nothing else but to heartful appreciation what Allah is doing. And even if you go into difficulty, like you did in the Muraqabah, then best thing to do is to do Muraqabah dua. Speak to Him. He's our Lord. We should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala His closeness, His love. Even if you need anything in dunya, no matter how meager it is, even like a shoelace, we ask Him to the channel, to the window of dua. We do worship, ibadat only for Him, but we use the channel of dua, the window of dua, to ask whatever we need, or ask Allah to remove the difficulties, problems, musibah, and so on. But also ponder upon, okay, I'm going through musibah, I'm going through difficulty. What is the hidden lesson that also I need to learn? So for example, when you have a loss, let's say you are very engaged, and you just suddenly had a loss. So naturally you feel upset, you feel down, oh, I had a loss I was expected to make. And let's say you are self-employed, you have got a target to make, let's say, £200 a day, be it a business, whatever you do. And that day, you spend the whole day, but rather than make it £200, somehow something happened and you ended up paying a fine or paying someone else, unwittingly £200. So you became minus 200 rather than plus 200. So you're driving home, you're very, very upset and sad and so on. Or something else happened. So that's obviously you should allow Allah to alleviate, to make it better, so that you don't have such a loss and compensate for the loss you had. So obviously that's you pour your heart out, leave it to them. But also in that you can learn, what lesson you can learn here? One lesson you learn is that one part of a dunya Allah has taken away, so that I do not feel too connected, too entrenched in dunya, but rather Allah is saving myself to remember Him. So He's saving me from the dunya and the attachment to the dunya and detaching me by loss. When you feel loss, you don't feel like thinking about it. So He's in a way detaching yourself And so utilize that time to remember Him. So in that sense, you turn your situation around and you benefit, because at the end of the day, if something helped you to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you're in blessings to be in the shukr and in the patience of. So it's like another stepping stone, you reach to Him, although apparently you had a loss. So like this, you can always even ponder and think about. So either through musibah and difficulty is a stepping stone, through patience, and relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking Him to reach to Him, or if you have a blessing, by thanking, by pondering upon all the blessing you have with appreciation and to share with others, you also reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So either way you can stay connected, make your life a living experience, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I spent majority of the time after we transferred doing my personal amals / dhikr in the company of Hazrat Sahib, because the past 3-4 days I've just been lacking due to commitments. So alhamdulillah, I spent time doing a lot of dhikr, and then during the last probably 5-10 minutes I was sat with Hazrat Sahib, and I was just focusing on themselves. Beforehand, I met Sayyidi Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahmatullah alayhi and the Prophet ﷺ at the various maqams and stations. I did dhikr with them. But after I finished the dhikr and I just focused on Hazrat Sahib, this is quite special because I just looked at them. And then all of a sudden a dastar khan was put out on the floor, and there were plates and there's food on the dastar khan. And they invited myself to come and eat. And I asked them, what's this food for? And they said, this is food for the spirit. And then I engaged in the food, and then yourself prayed Durood Sharif, and we returned. Jazakallah.
Brother Saif, so it shows that when you come to the halaqah and the gathering and the Majlis for zikr and Muraqabah and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're like a different, you could say, spiritual food laid out. People benefit either more spiritual advancement or refreshment, or more motivation, or spiritual benefit of mindset change, or become more determined that you want to be also, or seek for Allah forgives us, also cleanse us, we hear. So all these things are different, you could say, layer or different versions or different facets of blessings that we receive. That's why we should come to the gathering and benefit and enrich ourselves. Also, that what you have done is good, rather than missing your amals, that you try to participate. But really your real benefit would lie is that you actually try to do your personal amals in your personal time, because that requires a bit more effort, that requires a bit more, you could say, a consistency, bit more keeping our thoughts, our mind in balance. So there is a level of, you could say, test and you could say training is taking place. So therefore that benefit lies, to that greater extent. In the gathering already, mashallah, there's a blessing and lights and anwarat there, because the collective gathering, the brothers, pious people are there. So it makes it easier. So number one, yes, we should not miss. We should make up as soon as we can, whenever we can. But real benefit lies when we actually endeavor to try ourselves. And also in a gathering as well, depending on what gathering follows. If it's a loud zikr, zahiri zikr, then obviously you are a part of the adab, you expect to follow that. Don't say, well, they do their, let's say, zikr gathering on Friday, I'll do mine, quietly. That will be against the adab for the gathering, because you're in the participants in there. Likewise in the Muraqabah, you can do your amals, and at least initially follow the processes, and then, inshallah, if you want to do your Muraqabah and zikr, that's fine as well. But the main thing is to actually slowly, yes, sometimes I miss some things or get a bit busy, but obviously always seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spiritual from the Mashaykh, and as soon as you get opportunity at home or wherever you are, alone or individually, make up or do your amals, and that's where the benefit lies in your Muraqabah and zikr, inshallah. And coming to the gathering really helps to enlighten, enrich ourselves, and receive those spiritual lights and benefits and spiritual food which you saw in your experience, inshallah. Inshallah, nearly 20 past. So Jazakallah to all the brothers. Any feedback from the online participants? Okay. That's fine. May Allah bless yourselves. So please do continue your personal effort and endeavor. And also remember the next gathering is on Friday in Bolton, inshallah. So we see you there, inshallah. Jazakallah. Also utilize the Ruhani spiritual ascension groups where you can share your experiences there. Ustaz, Asatiza, they do read. When they feel they need to, they comment. If not, then our job is done by relaying in the group, inshallah. Jazakallah. Subhanakallah. Alhamdulillah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.